I'm Ed Bennett, and I'm the research specialist in the Art and Technology Department. And we're going to look at the context and tools that we use to develop the ArtBus project and explain like why it's here and what it does. ArtBus really started out as a protocol, and it started out as a way to wire things together so that everything always wires together the same way with the same pinout and the same connection, and then is controlled, addressed the same way in every case. And the idea came about because I got involved in a project with some people that were doing a public art piece, and they had Macs running at the head end of a bunch of sensors and stuff, and they scaled back the project. But when I was talking to them, I realized the first problem was they had 100 feet of installation space and a bunch of little sensors, motion detectors, peppered along the length with a bunch of little switch outputs that were supposed to turn something on along the length of the thing. And it was really, really hard to figure out how to do that, hook it into an Arduino and make it robust. Because long wire lengths, you know, just like, they act like unshielded audio cable after a while, and they pick up noise and they generate noise. So I realized two things. There needed to be a way to hook together different kinds of I/O devices so that you could control it in an easy way. And there also needed to be a wiring methodology, a connection protocol that would allow everything to hook together. The place to start is always with digital I/O, reading and writing one line or a group of lines, and reading analog input, because most people want to extend their multimedia systems into the real world through bringing data in. That's what most people want to do. So there's lots of ways of doing this. I'm aware of them, but I work with art students all the time and all day long, every day, and I have a sense for what resonates well with art students, and what level, and very importantly, what level of abstraction to work on in terms of how much you have to know about the hardware and software to give you the maximum power and extensibility of what you're working with, but also to not go so deep into the thing that you have to start learning the register sets of your microprocessor. So there's a space in between the two of those, and I have set the ArtBus system in a place in between those two extremes of abstraction at a point that I chose based on my experience with students that would accomplish those goals. And the goals are isomorphism and the proper level of abstraction. So where we're at right now is we have hardware that instantiates this. And this is an analog input board, analog input ArtBus board. And it has its evil twin, the digital I/O board, which is over there. And they look alike, and the firmware inside them is almost full. So it's not, the hardware is the same, but the firmware is different and the behavior is different. They're not interchangeable. It's not one board that's used two different ways. There's fundamental differences in how they work. So although it is the same hardware. They're not reprogrammable. It's not a programming platform. It's not intended to be a programming platform. Again, I chose the level of abstraction to be at a point where you had things that you could plug together in an isomorphic way of talking to them, but not something that you had to program. If people want to do that, they usually take the microcontroller class and they learn to program things. The The serial protocol that the ArtBus uses is something that a basic stamp should be able to transmit. So there's one device, which is the bus master, and it controls everything else. So it sends commands, and then it waits for replies or actions happen. Anything that speaks serial can be a bus master. That's pretty much any microcontroller of any kind. A basic stamp, a PIC chip, an Arduino, anything that speaks any kind of serial protocol can control the entire ArtBus. So it's not just useful for extending multimedia into the real world. The design intent is also for it to be able to extend any computational platform into the real world for input and for output.